think that's wrong, and I think I would like the mayor to address where she's going to put all these shelters, so that we're not going to say, oh yeah, they're all going to be in Ward 8, or they're all going to be in Ward 6. I think we need to see the diversity of where they're going to be located. I am one that supports ending homelessness. I truly believe that. But I think it's an equity issue within the city, and we have to all stand up and be counted and say, it's not just in Shaw. It's not just in Mount Vernon Triangle. It's not just in this area. We want to know where and how many folks are going to be relocated from DC General. And everyone is signing this pledge and saying, yeah, we got to close DC General and move all those folks to better housing. But that better housing has to include those neighborhoods that are willing to sign the pledge but not willing to have the people there.
And I certainly hear your concern, Chair. And if you read the mayor's plan, you can go to mayor.dc.gov/home ward DC, and it will highlight her plan to making all wards participate in this effort. And this is something that is going to go throughout all 8 wards that are taking on this responsibility to support the homeless problem that we're having. Because it's not only happening in Ward 2, it's not only happening in Ward 3 and Ward 6, it's happening throughout the city, and we all coming together to be able to resolve it. And we all gonna share in that support. So I certainly understand and appreciate your concern for it not coming to Ward 6, but when I go to all of those.
Well, I'm not saying there shouldn't be some in Ward 6. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that those folks that live in those $1 million, $2 million, $3 million homes up in Northwest need to recognize that they are part of this city, and they have to be part of the equity that houses these folks and helps them, rather than sign the pledge and say, oh yeah, but I'll sign it, but put them down in Ward 8, or put them someplace else. Everybody has to take on the onus of supporting.
And that's exactly what the mayor intends to do. And I definitely deal with all of the homeless problems that we face here in Ward 6. I go to talk to people on New Jersey. I go and talk to people throughout Ward 6, and I work with DHS and to trying to get those people help and to try to get them the best help we need. I go to the shelter on New York Avenue and 2nd Street. Like, I go and deal with a lot of the problems that we're having. So
I'm not saying that you're not doing what you need to do and you're not trying to help people. And I understand that, you can ask them, but if they don't want the help, it's hard to make them do something. But in the mayor's plan, I want to make sure that this is not going to be concentrated in the same areas as we all know, and that it is going to be a very equitable kind of situation where everyone has shelters.
Absolutely. And this is something that I can assure you, all 8 wards gonna share on this effort. And that's why we having all 8 wards participation and making sure that we get the support we need. And this letter of support is basically going to create one voice that says we all agree that we have a homeless problem, so that we can get more funding to deal with the crisis that we have. Because unless we have more funding, it's only gonna get worse, and we're not gonna be able to address it. So hopefully we be able to count with this community support to making sure that we have the funds available to deal with this problem. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
What's the short to medium term plan? This seems to be somewhat of a long term plan, 2020. What's immediate actions?
So the short-term plan is basically going to be identifying locations throughout the city where homeless shelters can be built. Basically, that's going to be the short-term plan to try to resolve it. And it's going to be to try to get some of the people that are on the street, especially with hypothermia season coming. We definitely want to find a location for those people to go to and get the support they need, as far as trying to make sure that they are able to get jobs or able to get the medications they need so that they can, get out of that situation that they are currently in. Yes, sir.
Have any, well, obviously the pledges is, I guess, the first step. So if I'm understanding correctly, the pledges from us is basically just so that you can collectively present that to, I guess, the federal government saying, hey, our entire community wants this. I get that. Do you, has the mayor already identified, I guess, contractors? Is she going to, I guess, put out the bidding? How is that going to work? And I guess my second tie-in question, if hypothetically there was some, I don't know, goodwill Samaritan who has X amount of means to maybe contribute, how would they go about doing that? And when I say contribute, sorry to cut you off. When I say contribute, I mean actually building a site in any community, because with all due respect, certain individuals, they can really pull buttons in the city. So if you have all these properties that are being identified, would the mayor think that a way to expedite this process would be maybe to poll individuals who have the means contractually to come in and do this, or is it just get the money from feds or bust?
You have two parts to your questions, and basically the problem that we're having with the vacant properties and the blighted properties, the mayor is looking to address. And she is basically, in order to keep the neighborhood safe, she is developing a task force that will look into resolving the problems that we have with vacant properties and blighted properties. And you can look forward to that coming online soon. We do not have a date as to when that's gonna come alive, but I can assure you that it's gonna be soon. The second part of your question is, in order for the plan to be developed, funding has to go to, looking for the locations and creating the support system that it needs in order to move it forward. The plan is online, like I communicated the location online where you can go and look at it. And she's basically working to identify locations throughout all 8 wards, because she doesn't want to come to Ward 6 and not have anyone going to Ward 3 or Ward 2 or Ward 1, because we all got to share on this effort.
Is she looking at school buildings that are no longer schools, that are vacant?
Yes, ma'am. She's looking at all options right now, and I can assure you that we all can offer, ideas and opinions on how we, would like that process to go. We are very open and transparent administration that is interested in listening to what the public has to say, so that we can all work together to bring those solutions.
And I assume you're asking this evening for our action to be a letter of support to end homelessness in the city. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can someone make a motion, or is someone interested in making a motion?
I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E send a letter of support for Mayor Bowser's effort to eliminate homeless in the District of Columbia, with special attention to equitably distributing new facilities to permanently house currently and future homeless residents in every neighborhood in the city, not just in selected wards and neighborhoods.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we will support. We will send a letter.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you all.
Okay, 1539 7th Street. Application for the passenger. Is that you too, Andrew?
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
is that okay? It's actually Tom. I'm gonna let him do most of the talking this evening, since he'll be running the place. How are you? Andrew Klein, I am counsel to the applicant. Tom Brown is here. He's passing out some information regarding his reopening of the passenger, and I'll turn it over to him and let him tell you what he intends.
Good evening. My name is Tom Brown, and I represent the Passenger, which was a bar opened in Shaw. We opened originally in 2009. We operated on the 1000 block between New York and L on 7th Street. We closed down last year. The building was sold for redevelopment purposes, and we've been looking for a space ever since. We found a space. I believe it's a very good space at the 1500 block of 7th Street at 1539. We would like to have a full tavern license with entertainment endorsement. We are also looking to do a rooftop deck, so we would be requesting a summer
Garden endorsement.
Summer garden endorsement, as well as a patio on the front, which actually we don't want to occupy, but we want to be able to open the wonderful windows that are on the front of the building, which kind of extend out into the sidewalk a little bit. So we operated for 5 years with no incidents. As a matter of fact, we have gotten letters of commendation from ABRA for successfully participating in their sting operations, and I'm open to any questions.
We did appear at the Abra Policy Committee meeting. We are working through a settlement agreement. We're not quite there yet. We expect we will get there. It's just we need a little more time to iron out some of the details specifically related to the entertainment endorsement and a couple of other issues.
So for my fellow commissioners, the first passenger was in my area, and when Tom says there was no problem, there was no problem. It was an honor to have him there. It was just great, and I never had to worry about them, period. So they're great, he runs it quite well, has security, and so when I say there's never a problem, there's never a problem.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah. Well, the proposed passenger would be in my area, and I have met with Mr. Brown. He also had a open house for the neighbors around the vicinity of the location. He went door to door and passed out flyers, and several members of the community came and got their questions answered, as well as I did. From everything that I've heard about him and the plans that I've seen, I think it would be an asset to this neighborhood, and I am in support of the application to ABRA.
Thank you.
So the ABC licensing committee did meet and received a presentation from Mr. Brown last Thursday, and they unanimously recommended that the full commission support the application with a settlement agreement to specify certain restrictions related to the entertainment endorsement. But it's important to note that there's a limited capacity that will be accommodated on the roof. Obviously, we've had a number of issues related to outdoor establishments. They do not propose to have anyone on that roof after midnight. We're looking at potentially having no occupancy after 10:30 on Sunday through Thursday. So I believe that Commissioner Chappell will, before too long, be making a motion that we would support the application with a settlement agreement, and in the event that we are unable to achieve a settlement agreement before, we need to provide ABRA with correspondence related to this case, that we would, under those circumstances, protest the application with the objective of eventually reaching a settlement.
When is the application going to be heard before the ABRA board?
Well, I don't remember offhand. The date is on the placard in terms of the protest date, as you know, is set when the placards go up. And our placards were issued on the 19th, I believe, which would put us at a protest deadline of about December 15th. Yeah, let me
I
see.
can't read it.
Oh, I can. I think.
This is a very good picture.
Right, so our protest hearing would be February 5th, and the petition date is November 25th. Might be the 23rd. 25th is the 23rd.
So that's why our motion will need to cover both of those potential outcomes.
So, that being said, I move that ANC succeed, support, passenger application, and, communicate our support to ABRA, and that is conditioned on a voluntary agreement being entered into prior to the protest date.
And friendly amendment?
Sure.
And in the event that a settlement agreement is not signed prior to the protest date, that the commission would file a letter indicating that the commission would protest on the basis of peace or and quiet.
I will accept that.
And I'll second.
Any other discussion from other commissioners? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Pardon me?
One abstention.
Okay, so it is 5-0-1. I got you. I got you covered, babe. So 5-0-1, so the motion passed.
Great, thank you.
Send a
We
letter.
look forward to working with Alex and Kevin and getting this finally worked out.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You might as well sit down, Andrew. Aren't you coming up?
If it's the next one, I haven't seen it.
Almost.
Not quite.
Starbucks comes before your next one. Stephen, you guys ready for Starbucks?
Yes, we are.
Okay. How are you?
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm Steve O'Brien. I'm ABC counsel for Starbucks in the District of Columbia, and I'm accompanied by a team here. I've got June Wabara, Ron Correa, and Aaliyah Swinson, okay? Respectively, Aaliyah is the store manager at the Starbucks, your Starbucks at 815. Ron is a district manager for Starbucks, and he's in charge of 12 stores. June is a regional director for Starbucks. She supervises 94 Starbucks stores, including all 64 Starbucks stores in the District of Columbia. Starbucks rolled out last year in several states, mostly in the West, its evenings program, which consists of starting at 2 in the afternoon and running as late as 11, but no later, and perhaps lesser depending on demand, customer flow. Offering beer and wine at Starbucks, along with a limited, what I would call finger food menu of small plates, hors d'oeuvre type dishes, and I've passed out samples of the menu to the commissioners. The program has been successful in those first 8 states, and we're now looking at another, I think, 12 states, including the District of Columbia, which I'm calling a state.
You go, Stephen, you go.
Okay. I feel like that. In any event, June can answer any operational questions we may have. Our experience is actually to date that more of the food that we're offering, which is not your typical Starbucks muffins and bagels, but more food is sold than alcoholic beverages. And thus far, average number of sales of a glass of wine in these programs has been less than 20 a night. But it's the type of situation where one can go, have something to drink, especially someone who's by themselves, without having the pressure of walking into a bar situation. And that's kind of the bottom line. If June wants to amplify.
That's really good. So, you know, at Starbucks, obviously, we're called partners, right? And part of what we look to deliver is the experience, all day parts, be it, you know, during our busiest time, which is generally referred as peak, which is the morning period. But then you also have that afternoon period, you know, where it's like, you know, you want like that refreshing beverage, or, you know, kids are getting out of school. And then you also have the evening part where, you know, we just want to be available to, say you want to meet and you're meeting some folks and you want to be able to say, hey, I'll meet you at Starbucks. The offering could be, you know, coffee, it could be tea, it could be, you know, sandwich, it could be nice small plates. There are shareables, and we just want to really deliver what our customers want. And that is a place, we call it a third place, where they feel very, very relaxed and comfortable and at home. So that's the experience, and that's the reason why.
So I have a question. Is the Starbucks down on H Street next to the Walmart, is that covered in this? Or, I mean, is that gonna have alcohol?
No.
No.
Of the 64 company Starbucks in DC, only 9 have been selected for this program.
I think it's a great idea. You're right next to Cambria Suites, and there are lots of times women especially come in for conferences and would love to sit and have small plates and maybe a glass of wine and not have to go to a bar or to a place where they would be particularly uncomfortable and they don't want to drink at the hotel bar either. So I tend to think it's a very good idea. The only suggestion to your menu that I would change, and Stephen, you know I do my favorites all the time.
I do know that.
Instead of the truffle mac and cheese, why don't you do lobster mac and cheese?
Oh,
Come on now.
you know, I worked for Red Lobster in a prior life, and that was one of the dishes, and it is spectacular. We will definitely pass that recommendation.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns from members of the commission? We have one question back in the back, sir.
Yeah, you could have outdoor seating in the daytime. How does that work when you're serving alcohol?
Well, the seating at this store is right up against the front window, so it's easily monitored.
So people can bring their drinks outside the door and sit down?
Yes.
Or you rope it off?
We don't have a present plan to, but if it becomes necessary, yes.
What's to stop someone from just getting up and walking to the sidewalk or to the end of the block then?
Well, you're talking about a patron who has a glass of wine?
Right.
Yeah. Once again, the tables are smack up against the plate glass windows. So staff will be trained to monitor. All the staff working will be 21 years of age and TIPS trained. TIPS is techniques for prevention of alcohol abuse. In other words, server training.
Okay.
Good question, Mr. M, as always.
So this location of Starbucks is in my single-member district, and I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E support the application by Starbucks at 805 Oak Street Northwest, and that we communicate that support to the ABC Board and the Alcoholic Beverage Regulation Administration.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Hi, Andrew. How you doing? How are you? Good.
Next Abra application is Dasha.
Good evening.
Well, hi, Andrew.
How are you? Andrew Klein here for the applicant.
You're not standing up on the camera. Thanks, there you go.
I'm used to standing in front of the camera, usually the other way. We have been working with the committee for months, I think, and we have an agreement, we believe, that was recommended, well, I guess it wasn't recommended by the committee was actually deadlocked, but I think we are requesting that you support the agreement that we've negotiated. We think that it represents a fair compromise of the issues that residents have raised and balancing the concerns of my clients in terms of being able to operate their business there. There's quite a bit that went into this agreement, quite a bit of thought, quite a bit of discussion, and we hope you will support it. And I'll leave it to Alex, who we work with on negotiating the agreement, and happy to entertain any questions or concerns related to it.
So the principal provisions, of the agreement are a limitation of 250 patrons outdoors on the lot at 1600 7th Street Northwest with 200 seats. So that would mean that there would be only a maximum of 50 standees in addition to 200 seated patrons outdoors. A capacity of 250 people indoors in a restaurant to be built out at a later date at 1602 7th Street Northwest. The withdrawal of the proposal for a terrace or a balcony that would overlook the beer garden area at 1600 7th Street Northwest. Additional sound mitigation measures to help to control sound generated by the patrons in the outdoor beer garden, and some restrictions on the entertainment endorsement for the establishment. So those are the principal provisions of the agreement. And just for the record, because there was not a copy of the final agreement available for the review of the committee did vote that the commission not support the entertainment endorsement, but now that we do have a final copy of the agreement, which has been circulated to the members, I believe it is appropriate for the commission to approve it. And there was one item that was not included in the agreement that we are asking the establishment to also carry over from the previous agreement related to this establishment, which was to provide security cameras on the alley side of the establishment to aid in any potential prosecution of any illegal activities that might occur back. And my understanding is that the establishment is in support of that.
Yes, we've talked about that, and that's absolutely acceptable, and are happy to conform the agreement and re-execute it as necessary to include that provision.
I would also encourage you all to apply for a grant through this ANC for the security price. Oh, it's only nonprofits. Oh, well, what good is that? Okay, I stand corrected, as always.
Yeah, we already have it in.
You have it covered
so
anyway.
It's
Okay.
already in, so not an
So-
issue. Thank you, though, for thinking of us.
So I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 6E approve the settlement agreement to resolve the protest for the application from Dasha Beer Garden at 1600 to 1602 7th Street Northwest, and that we communicate that, well, I should say, with the amendation to the agreement related to security cameras at the rear alley end of the establishment, and we communicate that support to the ABC Board and the Alcoholic Beverage Regulation Administration.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Abstention.
Okay. So we are Five, oh God, 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 abstention. Congratulations, you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
It's
you.
only taken about a year, but
Thank all of you
Finito.
for all of your hard work on this.
we
really
appreciate you
it.
working with us, and we're glad we could come to some sort of an agreement.
Great,
So
thank you.
you for coming in tonight. Sharp Bijou, Bob, is it? How to say it? Bijou? Are you here? Are you guys? Got about 1 minute.
Actually, got a text from them, they said they're 10 minutes away, so can we go to the next item?
Yeah, let's go. All right. Okay, we will await their arrival. And we are now up to number 11 on our agenda, the presentation of 1537 to 1541. Are you guys here? Not here? Okey doke.
No, we scratched that.
We did. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that one was totally scratched. Okey dokey, Capitol Vista. First up, Thurgood Marshall College Fund Campus Group.
Chris, do you mind if I speak for 2 minutes prior to the presentation? Is that all right?
Excuse me?
Do you mind if I speak for 2 minutes prior to the development team speaking?
And who are you?
I'm Lee Goldstein with the Deputy Mayor's Office.
Why should we let you speak
been a
at our
while.
meeting? Yeah, okay, go ahead, Lee.
Very quickly, very briefly.
Yes.
Good evening, ANC 6E commissioners. Folks, how's everyone doing tonight? A lot of energy in the room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm a project manager with the Deputy Mayor's Office for Planning and Economic Development. I'm the project manager on several projects, one including Capitol Vista, which falls under this ANC's jurisdiction and oversight. Just quickly before I turn over to the teams, an RFP was issued this past spring for the site, which is bounded on the south by H Street, on the west by 2nd Street, and on the east by New Jersey Avenue. It's a small parcel, about 9,600 square feet, currently vacant land used temporarily as a parking lot. The site is zoned C2A today. Through the RFP,